Day 14. How to break the ritual. Today we're going to learn about rituals and how to break them. Let's start with the definition. What is a ritual? Simply put, a ritual is a series of actions you do regularly. These actions are usually very specific and done in that order. More importantly, actions within the ritual tend to be almost automatic. People typically have specific situations and times of day when they perform these rituals. It's almost like a tick. You can't really prevent yourself from doing them without putting in some effort. The thing is, you don't really want to stop yourself from doing the ritual because it makes you feel safe. It makes everything feel more familiar, and people like that. Churchgoers, for instance, perform and are a part of a variety of rituals at their church. The environment of church feels familiar because of the hymns and psalms they can hear, the smell of the incense and the voice of their minister or priest. Going to a different church can feel jarring to them at first. Maybe some psalms they're used to aren't sung there, or their minister is more upbeat than their previous one. This uncomfortable sensation they feel in their new church is insecurity. You yourself, just like all other people, have rituals in many areas of your life. Let's start with morning rituals. You get out of bed a certain way. You probably have a cigarette. You use the bathroom to wash yourself in a certain order. Perhaps you do some exercise, get freshened up, then put your clothes on and have your breakfast. This order may be different in your case. Perhaps there are some other actions you take in between all of these. Driving rituals are also commonplace. Checking your mirrors, putting on your seatbelt, revving your engine a few times to get it going, then shifting the gear to start heading to work. You can apply the same logic to other parts of your life, from your lunch and coffee breaks to meetings and free time. All of this probably sounds like normal, everyday things people do. They are indeed. What most people don't think about is how we often do the same actions in the same order every single day. The reason we don't do so isn't because rituals makes us more efficient or better people. We do them because they make us feel secure and comfortable. We humans love having a sense of control over the world. Rituals provide us with that control. Think about how you put on your shoes every day. Would you say it's more or less in the same order each time? Wouldn't it be just as good to put them on in a different order? It doesn't matter, because the way you put your shoes on now is familiar. The reason we're talking about this is because smokers, like yourself, have rituals when it comes to cigarettes as well. A common ritual among smokers is having 1 or 2 morning cigarettes. Some smoke them while they're still in bed, while others have it on the toilet or with their morning coffee. The ritual tends to differ from one smoker to the next, but it's usually consistent. Nicotine already provides you with a comfortable way to bring back some control in your life. Being angry, hurt, or frustrated isn't something you inflict on yourself. These are externally influenced emotions. This is why you reach for your smokes when you feel these negative feelings. It's your way of putting your foot down and regaining control, and you do so in the same manner each time. It all begins when you choose your brand. Most smokers have 1 or 2 brands they prefer. It's not that usual for smokers to switch things up often. The ritual carries on with the way you open the pack and take out your first cigarette. I've noticed some like to tap their pack on a table a few times. Some will even tap the butt of their first cigarette a few times too. Then it usually goes the same. Light up, smoke up, and put out. I don't want to sound alarmist with this next statement, but these smoking rituals are all part of something bigger. They're part of the overall behavior of looking for your drug fix. This sense of control you get from these rituals are still part of the same illusion we talked about a few chapters ago. You don't actually have any control. Nicotine is giving you cravings, and you're satisfying them. It's actually quite interesting how some of these addictive rituals develop. I had a client who was a cook, and he always opened his pack from the bottom. He explained that he did that because he didn't want his greasy hands to touch the top part. This stayed with him for the rest of his life, even when he stopped working as a cook. This comes to demonstrate how an action that starts out just as a way to solving a problem or getting around a limitation will eventually become an automatic behavior. I also met a man who would take out his first cigarette, then turn it over before putting it back in the pack. He said he did this to save it as his last cigarette. I've also seen people use the little foil at the top as a way to do some quick origami-like folding. It's quite fascinating, really. I could go on listing more little rituals smokers have, but I'll stop here. I want you to think about your own smoking rituals. What little unique actions do you take when you buy cigarettes and smoke? Start thinking about your own smoking rituals by answering the following questions. It would be great if you could give some answers out loud. Please be honest with yourself. How do I buy cigarettes? How do I hold or carry them? What do I do when I open the pack? How do I take out a cigarette? How do I light a cigarette? How do I hold a cigarette? How do I puff on a cigarette? How do I tap off the excess ash? How do I put it out? How do I throw it away? What other smoking rituals do I have? Recognizing these little rituals is another key part of understanding your addiction and how to cope with it when you finally escape the nicotine pitfall. And they're not just limited to your own personal space. It's likely that you also have rituals around smoking on a more social scale. You may have had a group of smokers you enjoy having coffee or drinks with while smoking together. Perhaps it's having dinner together, but there's always smoking involved. On the surface, this all sounds like cozy little friendly gathering that's warm and comforting. It's no wonder you've continued to smoke when you're able to be part of something so nice. How many of your friends are smokers? When you think about friends who don't smoke, do you feel something is missing from your relationship? Do you wish they smoked like you did? Do you identify your smoking friends as certain types of smokers? Can you imagine them being non-smokers? Do you think they can imagine you without a cigarette? Can you imagine yourself as a non-smoker? Have you noticed that smoking gives you nothing but pain? It's very likely that you have. The problem is that you haven't imagined just how bad that pain actually is. But we'll get to that tomorrow. Enjoy the rest of your day, stay strong, and see you tomorrow. Now let's hear a summary of what you've learned today.
Day 14 Summary. Repeated actions you do every day eventually become rituals. Rituals make you feel safe and comfortable. Smoking has become a big part of your rituals, whether personal or social. These smoking rituals also give you a sense of security and control, but in reality, you have none over nicotine. These rituals are part of your addiction. Recognizing your smoking rituals will give you insight as to when you will next be craving a smoke. Once you identify these rituals, you'll take a big step towards regaining true control. Keep it up, and I'll see you tomorrow.